All right. Well, as I said, good morning, everyone. My name's Mitch Morowitz, and I'm the current president of the Durham Region Federation of Agriculture. We're thrilled to have everyone here with us today for this event, and we've been blessed with a perfect day, a light breeze, not too hot, not too cold, no rain. So this is fantastic. Saying that, I'd like to recognize the Forsythe family, Jim and Leslie, for hosting today's event. And this is the perfect venue for the topics that we're going to discuss today. And we're looking forward to a tour of the farm as well. Just a couple of housekeeping items before I continue on. If folks need refreshments, if you haven't found them yet, there are some at the table at the side here. And washrooms are located around the side of the building here in the washroom trailer. The door's open and you go help yourself. So perhaps a little bit about today's event. On your table, you'll see an agenda for the day that outlines how we'll run through things, including lunch at noon that'll be served by Mary Evans and Mary's Country Kitchen. But in terms of the inspiration for today's event, on-farm diversified uses are a hot topic for many of us, and DRFA was contemplating early in the year what we might do to engage with our current members and prospective members, and this seemed like a fitting topic on which to engage. We've been thrilled to have folks from Invest Durham partner with us for this event and have really contributed significantly to pulling together everything that you're going to see and hear today. But certainly in the course of my work, I farm, of course, but I'm also a land use planner and work on a number of on-farm diversified use files with various clients of mine. And what I've observed over the years is working with these clients, and previously when I worked in a municipal setting, was that there is a lot of interest in on-farm diversified uses, but there is a lot of confusion about them at the same time in terms of what is an on-farm diversified use and how do I go about seeking permission to do what it is that I want to do. How do I plan to accommodate this on my farm, and so on. And I think that our colleagues at Invest Durham who've worked on this and the municipal planners who are in the room would probably echo those same thoughts. So on the heels of the North Durham project on-farm diversified uses, which will be spoken to in greater detail later, we thought it was the perfect time to have an event like this and bring a group of people together with an interest in on-farm diversified uses to learn and share in terms of how we can move this economic development opportunity forward. So with that said, I want to recognize a few other people, and then we'll plan to go off on our tour of the farm, and to do that we'll split into a few groups. But I'll just acknowledge a few of the speakers that we're going to hear from today. So later this morning we'll hear from Teresa Shaver, Business Advisory Centre of Durham. You'll see that she's set to speak around 11:30 this morning. And then after lunch, Robin Prentice, Director of Development Services for Brock Township, is set to speak. Stacy Jibb and Stefan Lemon from Invest Durham, and as agricultural economic development staff with the region will speak later in the day. And then we have some folks here that are going to participate in a farmer panel for us. So Jim Forsythe, owner here at Forsythe Family Farms, Mary Ann Found, Kevin Lamb, and Melissa Sargent as well, and Mark Torrey, who's the member services rep at OFA for this area. He's going to moderate that farmer panel. Also helping with the registration this morning was Kristen Chambers and Jessica from Invest Durham. And here to support today, taking pictures at the side right now, is Elizabeth Lusick, who's DRFA and Durham Farm Connections communication specialist for this summer. Providing the AV services and filming and recording today's proceedings is Bruce Sargent of Farm Boy Productions. And on that note, our intention is to make much of today available in terms of various recordings and videos highlighting different segments of the day, and as a reference that people will be able to make use of in the days to come. I'd like to acknowledge, standing at the back, our sponsors for some refreshments today. Aston Insurance Solutions, Inc., Cooperators, Port Perry, Denise Aston, and thank you for that. You're welcome to track Denise down to talk about any insurance matters you'd like to discuss today. And also, Rebecca is here from MPAC, just at the center table, and you can wave again. Yeah, so there you go. So if you have any property tax related questions that someone from MPAC might be able to help you with, feel free to track Rebecca down. In terms of support received for today's event, I had mentioned that Invest Durham had partnered with us to put this day on, including a financial contribution. OFA, through their Revive Fund, has also provided funding, and the Durham Region Federation of Agriculture as well. So with that, that more or less wraps up my introduction. Could take any questions briefly if there's anything in particular that anyone's unsure of, but otherwise I'll introduce our tour leaders, and then we can divide up into 3 groups and get started with our farm tour. So Jim Forsythe is making his way around. He's maybe going to say a few things. Perfect. Excellent.
Good morning. I'm Jim Forsythe, co-owner here with my wife Leslie, also known as Farmer Jim in our school tours or our online video series or promotions, social media that we're doing. This is primarily a fruit and vegetable farm. That's our basis here, and we do extra value through ag tourism, on-farm market. We do off some farmers markets as well, and we market our produce through our CSA program. So we have probably about 4 components. Our school tours is a huge part of our business as well. And we've been here over 30 years now or so. We're originally from Markham, and I started farming in '72. It's kind of old, but I started cash cropper after college. I worked for a chemical company for 5 years, and started renting land, cash cropping. I'm first generation, So it can be done. If, anyways, the diversification started, I started with about 10 acres of tomatoes and beans. Just, I had friends in the produce business growing mostly co-crops. But anyways, I kind of got the bug, and I could see more value there per acre in the produce as opposed to the cash cropping, and the capital investment in the cash cropping was even then was higher than I anticipate or could afford. So I started with about 10 acres of pick your own tomatoes, and then a roadside stand that got quite large, and then we ended up with a couple hundred acres of produce at one time, and we did a wholesale of the co-crops too, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, and that sort of thing. So that's, and then I'm not sure, but is it the 80s or whatever, the market for the preserves, the ethnics diminished. There wasn't, that market was dwindling. So we had to find a way to survive. So we thought about ag tourism or getting extra value out of our stuff. So we started a tourism farm down in Markham, and just to get some value out of our crops and our farm. So that's how we started. We had to adapt to the changing times. So and through different educational things, there was a Ontario Farm Fresh Marketing Association. That was our Ontario thing that we, lots of conferences, workshops, tours, and gave us new ideas. We traveled extensively in the United States. Both Leslie and I were presidents of the Ontario Farm Fresh Marketing Association at different times. Me first, she's younger. And then I got on the board of the North American Direct Farm Marketers Association, representing Eastern Canada for 4 or 5 years. So I got a really good experience of travel and seeing a lot of the diversification in the different farms across North America. And Leslie and the kids went to Europe and saw some stuff in England. And then there's some guys from Australia that are regular mentors to a lot of people in the business. So anyways, I don't want to take too much time, but that's sort of a history of what we did. And as far as the tour goes, Leslie, hold up your hand. That's my wife. She's going to do a lot of the education and the animal barn area. Laura's going to do a lot of our CSA, our whatever, down by the cooler and packing and stuff like that. We'll show you our infrastructure. And Jim Hoshoff's going to take us on a wagon ride, and I'm going to be on the wagon, and I'll explain what we're seeing, and we're going to do some of the ag tourism things back there, and maybe some of the crops as well. So we're kind of split roughly into the 3 groups, and we're going to rotate, so you'll all get a chance to, probably about a 20-minute thing, okay?
That's great. Thanks, Jim, for that introduction to the farm and your background as well. Obviously, a real depth of experience here. And I think one of the things actually that you mentioned caused me to think perhaps I'd omitted from my preamble was that clearly on-farm diversified uses, or what we think of as on-farm diversified uses today, have been around for a long time. You've been clearly doing this for decades now. And within Ontario's land use planning documents, on-farm diversified uses is kind of a concept of the last 10 years or so. And the way things work in the planning world, I mean, that's still a relatively recent thing. And as some of you will have experienced, there's not a lot of people who have gone through the modern process of getting permission to start an on-farm diversified use on your farm. There's many folks like Jim who have been doing it since before it was a thing. And so in a sense, you just did it. And but these days, to get started fresh, there's other considerations, and there's been considerable effort in this area to try to make it easier for farms to realize these on-farm diversified uses as part of their operation.